and how dangerous the roads, the highways are. And I'm like, why are you? Good morning, good morning. I'm talking to myself. Yes. You know, I do that a lot. When you live alone, you talk to yourself. Mm. So I had coffee this morning, and I had a couple of pieces of bread I bought. Yeah, this is my my time to indulge. Alrighty, today is gonna be a short one because I'm just doing, good morning. I'm just doing some black beans, and I'm doing, I refuse to use rice. So I went back to the store and got some more couscous because I figured out how to cook the couscous. I did not know how to cook it right last time when I cooked it. Good morning. I thought I was talking to myself. You know, I do that a lot. Oh my God, you know, living alone is wonderful for those who want to live alone. I'm having breakfast and drinking tea. Yay, wonderful. And you know, you start talking to yourself, you enjoy your company, and then it's just weird. You talk to yourself, you ask the question, you answer the question. I know. How are you guys doing? Having breakfast? That's good. I had like 2 pieces of bread. Listen, the bread around here is so dangerous, but I don't buy bread on a regular. I don't make sandwiches or anything like that. But when I go to Ray, my store, on Sunday morning, which is my pilgrimage, I say once a month, I allow myself to have a croissant. But the croissant has so much butter that I have to like, So I haven't had croissant in a few weeks, which is great. So I just had the coffee, and then I had a couple of pieces of bread, so I'm good. But anyway, how are you? Where am I? I'm in Panama, the country of Panama. Yes. Where are you? Anyway, this is our live. We do this every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And it's a good thing that now we are on in the same time zone, Eastern time zone. We are in the Central, so same time. I mean, some people really get turned around with that. So I have some black beans that has been boiling here. And I put some bay leaves and fresh garlic, and I had a couple of things of celery. So I put that in there. Yes. Oh, Panama is wonderful. So we're gonna do that with some couscous because I couldn't find any quinoa in the store this morning. Listen, I told the ladies this past week, I could feel the mood shifting here in Panama to holiday, right? Because in Panama, November through like February, it's like holiday stretch with little bit of work in between, right? People's mindset is around the holidays. So this month is all about celebrating independence here in Panama. So the beginning of the month, you know, from like the 1st through the 10th, we had like 5 or 6 major holidays where schools were closed, banks were closed. It was just parades and party and eating and all that. Then we had a little stretch. This week coming on the 28th is going to be the 28th, which is Friday. We're going to celebrate independence from Spain. You're the Eastern time zone too. That's great. That's great. So that's why we're at 10 o'clock. That's great. And that's going to be a big one. This is where, you know, and in the whole month, people are wearing these folkloric outfits. The ladies wear beautiful lace shirts. They have things they put in their hair, and I found a place where I can buy a couple of little things to put in my hair when I go to the parade this week. And they have like big flowy skirts that they wear. And the men have also holiday shirts that they wear, the little kids. I mean, it's just a very patriotic fiesta, you know, festive type of, you know, of a time. So that's what we are in the process of doing. And then of course you get to December, everybody's thinking about Christmas, New Year, party, right? And then in the stores, I haven't been to the mall this week. I'm like, I stay away. There's already, oh yeah, Christmas stuff all over the, oh, music. I was in the store this morning singing Jingle Bell and all. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving here, so it's not that they pass it, it's not a thing. But because they celebrate their independence and they know there are expats here, so I saw turkey in there, and they have a lot of good prices, rebates, I noticed with some items, because they do celebrate Black Friday, believe it or not. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but that Friday they celebrate, and people are looking forward to just getting good prices on a lot of things, like heavy things, like washing machines, stoves and stuff. They get good rebates on those. So even some stuff, I'm not into those, but even some food stuff, I noticed that they have some good prices on. And I'm having a party here for Thanksgiving. I call it Friendsgiving. So I started doing some shopping. So this morning I woke up at 6:15 and I was like, do I go or do I go for a walk? Do I go for a walk? So I decided, thinking of what I have going on, I can go walk in the afternoon. So, I am warm. So I'm going to, so I went to the store, and then, I have my list. So I bought a few things. The thing in Panama, because I don't drive, so I can carry a lot of stuff. Because even where I'm at, when I call for Uber, it's a little quirky because we have so many one-way streets. It's a little difficult for the drivers, and we're having more women drivers, Uber drivers, and they're a little bit less experienced than some of the guys in terms of where to come get you. So when I come out of the store, there are always taxis there. But I'm like, I'm not a taxi person because I've heard some stuff, people getting robbed and other things, so I don't use taxis. So I called the Uber, and then she didn't come inside the parking lot where I had my bag, so I had to carry my bag. Thank God I could carry 4 bags, and this one was nice enough to open the trunk and help me put my bags. Usually they don't. They sit in their seat, and I have to say, can you open the trunk? And then I have to put my own bag. So it's hit or miss with that, because remember, customer service is not a thing, not the way you think about it. Don't expect that here in Panama, okay? So I started and I was like, I'm not even close to everything I need to get for my menu. And I looked at the prices of the turkey. They have the Butterball, which is good because, Butterball is still a good brand. There's a planned boycott from November 24th. I heard that. I was never a Black Friday shopper. I always say, why do I have to get up out of my bed at 4 or 5 o'clock to get a television? I don't watch television. So it's like, I don't need it. That's silly. And then fighting, people standing in line and waiting. I never could understand that. And now in my old age, definitely not. But, so we'll be boycotting from here. But this is food. We have to buy food, but I don't buy, I don't shop like that. There's nothing I need. If I need something, I buy it. If I don't need it, I'm not gonna sit and wait until, something comes up or there's a holiday. When you get older, your mindset changes. And then you declutter, you get rid of a bunch of stuff, so why would you want to buy more? No, you won't do that. Sorry, I'm feeling warm. And I have both units on, but every time I have the stove on, it gets warm. And I worry that when I have the party, I think I have like 17 people, that it will get really warm here. So I need to make sure I finish cooking my stuff so I don't have the oven on when people are coming. But anyway, today I thought I would, because the thing that's going to take the longest are the beans, okay, the black beans. So I'm going to blend some of it, and the way I make black beans, it's not, I would normally use the time to get all the extended family member kit, whatever they need. Okay, gloves, okay, yeah. But as I said, I was never like a shopper like that. So we have our beans here, and I'm using this pan because it heats up rather quickly, better than my thicker, you know, like my Dutch oven. So I'm gonna take the bay leaves out. And then when I blend some of the beans, I'm gonna make sure I take all the veggies with me so that I can get all the benefits of it. What am I preparing? We're doing black beans with couscous. And then for the veggies, I have half a cabbage. So we're gonna do cabbage, and I have some bok choy that's been sitting in my fridge that I need to get rid of. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna use that. I have a carrot, and that's about it. Because I just wanted to do this real quick because you know this week is gonna be busy because I am going to have a party, and you know you don't have I have a big kitchen, but it's not I don't have all the bells and whistles, you know. So I got some foil pans, you know, thinking of all the things I need to put in there, you know, mac and cheese and the crudité and the salad and all that. But I haven't found the pan to cook the turkey. And I decided I'm gonna break my turkey today. I'm not gonna bake it whole. You know how they take the backbone off and then you break it and you cook it? It takes less time. So we're gonna be doing that this year. I'm excited to try that. I haven't done it yet, but you know, that was the first time. Why not? So I'm doing the turkey like that. I'm gonna put a little bit of jerk dressing. It's not gonna be jerk. I don't want it all dark because I do have some people who are not from the Caribbean coming. I have a lady, my friend who's Southern from Tennessee, you know, she's not gonna be into all the jerk stuff. So I have to really think about my onions when I cook. So I'm not gonna make it spicy, nothing spicy. So I'm doing chicken wings, baked in the oven and then tossed in a sauce, ginger, honey. Ooh, see, I have to get honey. Sauce, and then I'm making some fish. Corvina, which is the most abundant fish here in Panama. I'm gonna fillet them, and then I put them a little bit of panko and stuff, and then I cook it on the stove, and then I put them back in the oven. Yes, I have done it. It cooks way faster. Okay, good. Yeah, who wants to be, you know, that poor bird, like 4 or 5 hours? To me, that's always been ridiculous. I don't like that. So I'm gonna do it like that. I have never had a fried turkey, but which is fine because I don't fry anything anymore. All right, I want to get all my veggies in there. Make sure I leave enough of the beans. And this is half a bag, so it's not a lot, right? And I use a little bit of the juice. And then I'm going to strain it into here. Okay, this is how I make my black bean. And then I'm using the couscous, but you know, if you don't want any carbs, you could just, you know how Americans do it. They just do the black beans and then they put, I do have some sour cream that I bought because I'm making a sour cream dressing for my crudité platter. So we could put a little dollop and put it on top just to show folks, you know, a little variety, right? All right, so yep, get my strainer ready. All right. I can smell the celery. So good. And then it thickens it really fast. And then it's just a matter of seasoning it. We call that sasquatch where I come from. And then you always serve this with white rice and some kind of meat and veggies. Like when we do something we call legume, which is meat, cube meat, you know, bones, and then you put eggplant, watercress, carrots, chayote, and then you cook it all good. Oh my God. This is a really, you know, I tell people, when I was growing up, I did not know a lot of older women with broken bones. You know, osteoporosis is not something that I'm familiar with at all as I was growing up because we ate beans every single day. So we had plenty of calcium, okay? Now we ate too much meat, now that I'm thinking about it. Too much salt, too much grease. But if you tell a Caribbean that, they kind of want to run you out of town because they're like, well, that's our culture. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. But as you start getting older, you really have to step back away from the way you were eating. You got to do a little bit of variation and try to eat a little healthier. It's like the pastry here. Boy, I love it, but I know I can't have a lot of it. Right? And I heard people talk about, oh, diabetes, it's a virus. I know. But you can't tell me that a lot of carb doesn't also increase, your risk of diabetes. I'm a nurse, okay? So I had somebody the other day trying to correct me about hand washing, and I'm like, seriously? I said, you want to go there with me? I don't think so. Wash your hands. Wherever you can, wash your hands. Hand sanitizers do not take the place of good soap and running water, okay? So don't get that twisted. All right. You have people who always feel the need to correct you. Do you ever find people like that? They always know better, even though you're the expert. So what I did wrong with that, with the couscous last week, I cooked the couscous like I would cook quinoa, and it was nope, not like that. Because you boil the water with a little oil and salt. When it comes to a boil, you put the couscous in there, then you take it off the heat, and you cover it. 5-10 minutes, it's done. That's it. And then you just fluff it. And I was like, wow. So this week I had some left over, and then I cooked a little bit of edamame and some green peas, the way I do it with the hot water, cover it and let it, and then I tossed it into that couscous. Game changer. So now couscous is becoming my favorite grain. It's not a grain. Somebody told me, hi Deborah. Somebody said it's a type of pasta. That couscous is not a grain. I could not find any, and this one is mediano. It's just medium grains, and that's the one I have that I can find here. But I know they have the larger grains. So wash what? D Bear Gold. What do you mean? What do you mean wash? What do you want me to wash? The hands? Well, your hands, I always say, in your hands you carry life or death. That's why people get a lot of infections in hospitals because people don't wash their hands. Yes, Thank you so much. With the children, I understand. Most annoying sound. What is that? But anyway, so yes, for the couscous, it's easy to cook, and then you can make an easy salad with it, right? Once you cook it the way I cook it, you can put chickpeas. If you want to do savory, you can do chickpeas. You can, I think I'm going to do that. You can do roasted vegetables and toss it in there. You know, like you can do a salad. If you want to do sweet, you can put fruits in it. You can put raisins and dates and other things. I mean, you know, it's very versatile. So this is becoming one of my favorite. And it's a carb, so I have to be careful because, you know, I can't do too much carb. All right. Last week, I was having some issues with like little mini ants. So I bought those traps and boy, let me tell you, it worked. All right, so I'm gonna let this come to a boil, then I'm gonna put it in the back, and then I'm gonna cook the veggies. It will take no time. No time. And cabbage is called repollo over here. Repollo, and you know cabbage cooks really super fast. And I don't like it overcooked. You know, I like my veggies a little bit on the crispy side, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it get soft. But cabbage and squash, those things are very abundant here in Panama. So, get the core out. I know sometimes you look at a recipe and it says fried cabbage, and I'm like, fried? What are you frying? And it's not really fried, but they call it that. And I'm like, that is weird. But I love cabbage. It takes no time to cook. It's good for you. So I almost always have cabbage in the fridge with squash. But today I had a big old bag. I was carrying stuff, and I have to be careful when I go shopping is how much can you carry, because you know I don't drive, and you know I am seasoned, so it's like, yeah, I need that, but nope, I have to come back. Like I need drinks for the party, and I'm like, I can't carry that today, so I have to make multiple trips. So my menu, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna have. I'm gonna make a crudité platter. Crudité means raw veggies, right? And then I'm gonna have broccoli, cauliflower. I have some beets in there. I'm gonna roast the beets. I'm gonna put it there, even though it's a crudité, but we're not gonna eat raw beet, right? Beets, and then maybe edamame, and some carrot sticks. And then in the middle, I'm gonna make a sour cream herb dressing. So I was able to find sour cream, which, you know, it's not the same, but it will do. And then we're gonna have the chicken wings that I'm gonna cook on Wednesday, and then warm them up on Thursday, and then make the sauce on Wednesday and toss them in the sauce. I like to toss them in the sauce when they're hot, right? And then I'm gonna make pâté. Pâté is a Haitian pastry that we make we do a pâte feuilletée, which means you make the dough and you keep folding it, rolling it, folding it, you know, with butter, like you're gonna make croissant. And then you make a filling. You can fill in with anything you want, not potatoes. Here they put maduros and everything in empanadas. I don't do that. So you can do a ground beef mixture, really nice and cooked and seasoned. You can also do chicken, or you could do fish. And I'm thinking I want to do bacalao. Bacalao is the salt fish here. I mean, it is cod, but you can have it salted, saltado, bacalao, saltado. And then you use that as if you were going to make ackee and salt fish. So you season it. It's not wet, right? Because it's a filling. And then you fold, and then you use your fork to do the edges, and you brush with an egg wash, and then you bake, and they puff up, and oh, so yummy. Then I'm going to have a regular salad, right, with lettuce, and they have arugula here, believe it or not. And then I bought cucumber. I'm going to get some cherry tomatoes, but I'm going to go to Cinco de Mayo, where I can find them, you know, like a bag full for $1. So, and then I'm going to make an herb vinaigrette with Dijon for the regular salad. Then I'm making ratatouille. Ratatouille is that baked vegetable dish with eggplant, tomatoes, peppers, bell peppers, zucchini, and yellow squash. And I bought those this week, because I can't find zucchini and yellow squash everywhere. This is the thing in Panama. You have to know where you can find certain things. Then mac and cheese, and I'm making a cornbread dressing, right? I'm going to bake the cornbread and make the cornbread dressing with celery and onions, and the Holy Trinity. It's onions, green pepper, and celery, right? You cook them with a little bit of butter, and then you season. Not putting any meat in there. So even if I have people who are meatless, they should be able to find, good morning, they should be able to find something that they like to eat. If I have time, I'll cook some plantain. And the plantains, I don't deep fry anything, so I can either bake them in the oven, which I've done, or I can cook them on the stove. Then I'm cooking rice with, I was looking for pinto beans, but I couldn't find pinto beans, so I found these that are a little bit light, right? So I'm gonna cook those. You soak them overnight so they plump up, and then in the morning you cook them with rice and coconut milk. Really good. And I can cook rice, okay? And then I'm also going to I was hoping to make some quinoa, but now that I can find quinoa, it could be just a couscous that I'm going to fluff in with some green peas just to give it a little contrast. Let's see. Sweet potatoes, I don't know. The sweet potatoes here are not the same. They're not that beautiful yellow. And I don't know if I need to make all that. So do I need a potato dish? I don't want to do scallop potatoes. Good morning. Hola, Greta. I don't know that I need to make scallop potatoes, because let me tell you, I bought 2 types of cheese on sale. They like almost $5 a block for like half a pound or whatever, the little block. They're super expensive. You know what else is expensive here? I told you, berries, like blackberries and raspberries. I know where to find some blueberries, not too expensive, at the fruteria. So I got to plan in my head to get that, because I'm making a fruit salad. And then what else again? So the sweet potato is like, and I'm not making green bean casserole, because we have ratatouille, and we have the crudité, and we have salad. That's enough greens, right? And then I'm going to, for dessert, I'm making bread pudding. I'm baking an apple pie. I'm going to have someone bring a cheesecake from Reba Smith. and then I'm making a fruit salad. So I think that's enough for 17 people to eat, if they all show up. And then today I bought the paper, the thing they used to, I already had some plates, because here in Panama, if I have a party, it's all paper, because I just don't want to have pretty chinas and stuff like that. I don't have room for that, and I don't have to worry about that, right? And then for drinks, I have sangria. I'm gonna have someone bring sodas. I don't drink soda, I don't have them in my house. Sometimes I'll make a punch, but that would be too much work. I don't have time to do all that. So we're gonna have water, sangria, wine, and then soft drinks. And I think that should do it, because the turkey is gonna be the star, and we have wings, we have fish, so we got like 3 choices of meat, 3 veggies, only 2 rice or grain. But if I do, there's mac and cheese, and if I do the plantains, yeah, that should be enough. So I got my work cut out for me, but you know what? I love doing it all. So, all right, let's get down here looking at this bean. All right, so it is boiling, which is good, which is what I wanted. And then I'll show you how we season it to make sure. All right, it's doing its thing again. So, but carrot, cabbage, and bok choy, that's a good veggie mix. Guiltless. So you getting your veggies. Like I said, couscous is a grain. It's not a grain, it's a pasta. Someone said, I didn't. And one day I went to a fair, and this Italian, I guess a restaurant, had paella, and I think I posted when I was eating that paella with that black rice. And I found that black rice in the store today. Woo! So, I'm gonna plan a dish. I think the little box is like like $5 or $6, but that's okay. I'm gonna cook it. I'm gonna do some research on how they cook it, and then I'm gonna put all kind of seafood in it, and then we're gonna have almost like a paella with that black rice. It's so good. I was like, what is that? In Haiti we have a black rice, but we have to do the black mushroom to make the rice black. But this one comes in the box as a black rice. And when I tried it from that restaurant, it was yummy. They use a lot of good stock, right? But I don't know if they put anything else in it to make it so moist. It was really moist. It's not grainy, and it's not quite like a risotto, but it was really moist. Oof. You see, stuff like that excites me, right? It doesn't take much to get me excited. So, all right, so we're gonna do one, and we're going to do we're gonna do strips with our carrots, okay? Because we want to make sure they look like the cabbage. Remember what I said, when you cook, you wanna keep everything looking a bit alike, right? In terms of size. It's funny, this week I was watching a bunch of cooking shows, and every time they're gonna say, oh, let me show you how to do it. And then she starts doing the garlic powder, onion powder. I was already like feeling really uncomfortable because I don't believe in these powders. And then they say chicken bouillon, and then I just click off. Because the moment they start saying that, I'm like, no sis, we're not doing that. Chicken bouillon, there's nothing good about that for you. You don't know what's in it. Stop it. Prepackaged food. It's not healthy, I can guarantee you. Okay? So learn to season your food. Say, Maggie said, I can use herb to season my food. You don't need to be using the bouillon. Make stock with veggies. Veggie stock, vegetable stock, that's all you need for whatever you are cooking, okay? All right, I think that's enough. We don't want to overpower our cabbage, right? So I'm gonna save this. Maybe when I make stock later, because I'm gonna need a lot of stock. Yesterday I ordered a Vietnamese pho. It was buy one, get one free, so I have one tube of stock left over. So I got more stock. All right, so 4-hour beans. And like I said, this is the thing that's gonna take the longest to cook. Maybe not so long. It looks really good, the texture is good. So we're gonna put a bouquet garni. We're gonna throw a whole habanero pepper in there, as I always do. This is for flavor. That replaces your chicken bouillon, okay? And use your thyme, get you some fresh thyme. When you go in the store, you see thyme, get one. And remember here, if you buy something in the bag, they last longer. And you get some parsley. Now this is Italian parsley, and maybe not Italian, what do they call this one? But as long as it's green, so I already had some bay leaves in there, so I'm not gonna put more bay leaves. You don't ever want to overpower your dish with a particular flavor. You want to mix and match, okay? Now I do have some cilantro, but I want to get rid of this parsley that's been sitting in the fridge. And this is how I cook. I look at what I have in the fridge, and I was like, what can I make with what I have? Good morning, good morning. All right, so we're gonna throw that in there, and we're gonna let that cook. And I'm gonna put some black pepper. This is the seasoning. Besides the herbs, paprika, adobo, remember, adobo does not have MSG. That's the only reason I'm using it. And I have herbe de Provence. Again, herbs, okay? Not bouillon. I'm telling you, if you're cooking for me and I see you using a bouillon, I'm clicking away. This is dry parsley. And I like to always put a little bit of cumin. You know, I'm a cumin freak nowadays. Now, note that I have no salt in this yet. And I wait till almost the end. Okay, it's starting to thicken up, so I have to hurry. All right, I'm gonna put it in the back. Move it to the back. And then we're going to do our veggies in here. It will take no time. And you know, I clean as I go. Gonna rinse the veggies. Okay, I was able to find these little things. Crema cultivada, that's sour cream. And this is the thing I'm telling you, these little pieces of cheese, they're like $6, $7. But I don't think it's just here. I remember last time I was in the States, they were pretty pricey too. All right, and I did buy a couple of red onions. Cebollas, onions is cebollas. They call this cebollas morenas. Morenas means brown. Why they call it morenas, I don't know. Because red is rojo, but they don't say red onions here. That's why, just like I tell the ladies when I'm teaching, you cannot assume that it's word for word, that your translation is going to be word for word. All right? While I'm doing that, we're going to get the couscous started. I'll get a little bit. I don't want a bunch of it here for me to eat. All right? So couscous is a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's 1 cup water, 1 cup couscous, okay? Because you don't want it to be too pasty, nor do you want it to be too grainy. So I am putting some water here. I'm gonna turn it on. Put a little bit of sunflower oil, or you could do, I also have olive oil. All right, and a pinch of salt. Leave the salt out if it upsets your sensibilities, but I've told you before, salt is not your enemy. All right, so we got the couscous here. Gotta keep an eye on my black beans. That bouquet garni is doing its thing. Okay, we're good. So now, ooh, I got some regular onion and I think I haven't used them. They're probably doing bad on me. Okay, let's see. All right. Gotta keep an eye on that black beans. Those beans. All right. Little bit of oil. Now I know this is my raggedy looking pan, but boy oh boy, I like this pan. It cooks everything more evenly than I have some fancy pans, but they're not as good. And my cast iron just flashes too much. And I'm like, I am not in the mood to be cleaning. So I thought today I wanted to chat with you about, I have a new series on Thursdays. My videos are about maturity, wisdom. Right? We're still, talking about SWRA, but I feel like as we're getting older, we should also be wiser, right? And so that's why it's going to be. And it's going to be a podcast. I'm going to record like a daily little 5-minute snippet about growing old and growing wiser, because to me that's important. And I see too much, like here, as an expat, as an older expat, I see too many women they get upset over every little thing and they huff and puff. And I'm like, is that what we are at this age, 60 and 70? And I used to think that people got wiser as they got older. But I don't know, I think I'm changing my mind. Sometimes they get worse as they get older. Why is that? But I don't think it has to be that way, right? So I want to talk about that. And just about life in general. How do we manage this crazy life as it is right now? you know, you can't control external factors, but you can control your emotions, right? Because I think it's, oh, I didn't buy any peppers today, so I would have put some peppers in here. I believe it's Chuck Swindoll. He's a pastor, he's an author, and he used to always say, life is 80%, you know, 20% what happens to you and 80% how you react to it. So I feel that getting your heart and your mind and your emotions straight is where you should start, right? Because the guarantee is that life is going to throw you some curveballs, whether it's illness, whether it's a divorce, you know, somebody cheated on you, or it could be friends, you know, that just turn into enemies, or it could be family strife, whatever it might be. Work related, oh my God, didn't we even go there? The injustices that happens to us as we are in this workforce. And you know, we all, especially women, we know what we go through in these workplaces, right? The stress and the unfairness and the people call microaggression. I'm not pure aggression, there's nothing micro about it, right? When somebody's being mean to you, you have a boss who is always pushing you down, just keeping you from achieving. You don't get the recognition. You work twice, 3 times as hard, and then you have all these other little factions just you know, backsiding. Oh my God, I can't even enumerate all we go through, right? But what I'm saying is, you have to develop, people say thick skin, and yeah, it could be that, but it's also that you have to prepare your heart to deal with all this stuff. And I think this is what maturity does for you. He says, and I've always said that all along, you need to expect that people are going to be talking about you. You need to expect that they're not going to like you. What does that mean, to like me? You don't have to like me, right? Accept me, well, you don't have to do that either. So, yeah, I took the big old, that was a big old bouquet that I had back here with the beans. So you kind of have to expect, listen, this tastes so good. I don't even think it needs any salt. OMG, wow. Build your flavor. You don't have to use a little packet. What was the one before? Parsley. Oh, herb de Provence. This is a little something. Provincial herbs or herbs from Provence. Provence is like a French term or area. And then in here, let me see if I can read. Whew, I need a magnifier to see what's in it. Okay, let's see. A blend of fragrant herbs reminiscent of the south of France. 2, tomato and vegetables. Oh, to add to tomato and vegetable dishes. Ingredients. Oh, here we go. Organic herbs, including rosemary, marjoram, thyme, and savory sage. Herb de Provence. But you know I have to get sage for the turkey dressing and the turkey itself. This is the time of year where you can use sage. I don't use sage usually during the week. I don't eat meat, so I don't have to use it. But rosemary and sage are necessary for good meat. Oh my God, fresh one, preferably. Oh, so good. You know I say so good a lot, right? These are the bomb, and I don't have to put anything else in here. Wow. Impressive. All right, so let me use a little bit of the bok choy. Bok choy. And here, they put mustasa on here. I thought mustasa was mustard. So maybe they call it mustard green, which is not what we call mustard green. Who knows? Can't savvy. Alright, this one has some, okay. My bunch here, this is all dried and dyed culantro. So those are gonna go into the trash. So yeah, talking about, oh, I had another one on, not my water, okay. You know, when you talk about, we're going to use that to kind of put after we finish with our mix as a decorative. Oh, that's some nice spots on my bok choy. I've had it in the fridge for over a week. That's why. I know better, but you know, I get lazy. I don't cook during the week. So, you go in there and you find what you need to use, and you come up with something. Alright? So we have the cabbage. I'm going to put a little bit of stock in here. Well, let me season it first. We have not seasoned. Ground pepper, not already ground pepper. No, no, no. You're gonna say, that Maggie's crazy. Yes, I am. When it comes to food, yeah. I'm pretty anal. And this week, when I went to the San Felipe, and again, I went to this little area where they have multiple little fondas. And the thought again came to my mind, Maggie, it would be nice if you would just rent one of those little places and you can do your little cooking to keep you engaged. So, I know. I'm still thinking about it. Because when I had my cafe, I used to do breakfast. Lots of omelets, you know, eggs, all kind of ways. They used to say, over easy, over medium, over hard. And then I would get my ladies from the Caribbean, they're like, well done, well done. Just like they do the steak, they're like, well done. And we as chef, we're like, you want the steak well done? Oh, it's like a dagger. Because you don't need to do that to steak, you know? Over medium is the best way to eat your steak. When, you know, we had a test that we did. If it bounces, you knew. But if you start with thermometer in it, I forgot what the temperatures are. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But it's not overcooked. Otherwise, it turns to leather. Come on. But boy, they would say over, you know, well done steak. We're like, another one. That was funny though. And then I would make all these breakfast sandwiches. We had soup and salad. Oh, I don't know. I think about it and I'm like, get this out of your head, Maggie. What are you thinking? But, you know, when you're a cook, it's a passion. It's not something that you do. And people look at me, they're like, well, I can't really do any of that because I don't like to cook. I said, I understand. You don't have to like it. You like certain things I don't like. So we don't need to be all the same. No es necesario, right? It's not necessary. That's why God has a lot of us. We're all different. Just to know the Savior Lord, Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus. Look at this beauty. Oh, for grace to trust. Okay, the water for the couscous finally boiling. I was doing, oh, okay. I need to turn the heat off under my beans. They are ready. Oh, beautiful. Listen, you don't need to do a lot to these beans, right? Okay. Now, with our couscous, I'm so glad I learned to trust you. Precious Jesus, Savior, friend, and I know that thou art with me. Well, you know, I don't measure. You can measure if you want, but as an experienced cook, like your grandma would say, oh girl, I know what to put, okay? This is it. This is what you do. As soon as it does that, you cover it, ooh, and then you put it away. But what I did, I let it kind of the water disappear, and then I left it in the heat. No bueno. Right there. That's it. And then you uncover it like in 10 minutes, and you just fluff it with a fork. And that's it. I was like, you mean that was that easy? I just destroyed that couscous last week. I'm like, but you know what? I'm not embarrassed to say, whoop, I didn't know. Like yesterday, I was talking about the pho, and I said, I mean, I've seen the pho on TV. I don't cook Asian. You know, you guys know that. And the main reason I don't is because they use a lot of soy sauce. And I'm almost kind of allergic to soy sauce. So if I'm going to put, like I'm going to put a little bit in here, I go really easy. So if I have this thing of dark soy, it might last me a year, right? So I can use it sparingly, but they use way too much. And you see my veggies, now I just need to taste it because it's done. I don't want it to be overcooked. So let's taste. So everything is gonna be cooked about at the same time. Perfecto. So the only thing I'm gonna put in here is a splash of lime juice. And we're done. Heat off. Heat off. So I think let's take everything off here. I don't need the heat for anything else. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust you. Oh, I have some lime. Now remember, when you squeeze lime juice or lemon juice on anything, it just brightens it, right? That's why when you're cooking your turkey, when you're making that bed, when you're gonna lay the turkey, you just put all kinds of veggies in there, so it just kind of infuses into the meat. So we are done here with the veggies. I'm going to take it off the heat because I don't want it to keep cooking, and I'm going to lose the green from my bok choy. So I'm going to take it off. And that's it. Cabbage is the easiest thing to cook. Beautiful veggies. How about creating a series of one-pot dishes after the holidays? Yeah, that's a good idea. But I don't have a pot. I'd have to buy one. I'm putting in one pot. It was so fun. Oh, you use any pot, or you use one of the ones that you can cover? I can do it for 1 month, yeah. Or we call those casseroles too, you know, in the US. So you could do that, but you know, I'm not using meat. So the only thing I'm gonna probably consider for the holidays is what do we call that? when you you know, for January 1st, which is a traditional holiday in my culture where we make that kind of looks like the soup that we made before, but it comes with you have to use either oxtail or something else, and I had to reset my tummy without the meat. All right, so I'm gonna slice a little bit of red onion just to show you two options, that you can have the black beans the way I'm gonna do it with the couscous, or you could just have the regular black beans like most Americans do, with some red onions and a lot of that ice cream. Just doing two, so we can show you different option, right? But I don't know. I have a friend, she came with her mom to have soup last year, so I don't know if they're gonna do that. I would have loved to have some avocado to put next to this, but it's not avocado season. And I see them out there, but I've tried them before and they would be not, you know, not good. So let me slice off a little bit of the red onion. As much as I love onion, I don't like raw onion. So, but I'm gonna do it for you guys. They're beautiful today. I'll tell you, the store was like ready, getting ready for the holidays. I threw all my veggies together. Swiss chard garlic, oh my God, so yummy. Good, good. Hola, Barbara. Yeah, but what we were talking about earlier about women showing some maturity in our relationship with each other. Sisters, if a sister says or does something that, you know, maybe touches a nerve or whatever, is this a reason for you to just totally throw away the relationship? Stuffing? Why, you don't like stuffing, brother? I'm doing a meatless stuffing. It's just cornbread and maybe a few little breadcrumbs, you know, that I make with maybe some French bread. Why would you not want stuffing? You don't have to have stuffing, right? I mean, stuffing is stuffing. I don't know that you can substitute stuffing with something else. So I got the onions ready to be chopped. I have sour cream ready. Let me give the couscous just a couple more minutes before I fluff it up, and then we can play. So yeah, you know, having people in your life as you get older is such a blessing that we need to do whatever we can to preserve those relationships, right? Sometimes they're irreparable. I know that. And look at the sour cream. It doesn't look like ours, does it? That's what I said. So if somebody does something that I don't really feel is appropriate or whatever, if it's somebody who's important to me, I will talk to them about it. I'm gonna say, you know, sis, I felt uncomfortable, or you know, I felt bad when you said this and that. And then when you do that, you are hoping that the other person will respond in kind, that they are as mature as you think they should be, to say, oh, I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry you felt hurt. To me, that should be it, right? It's like, if the person is unable to accept an apology, it's on them. It's really not on you, right? But what I'm finding is that people just get huff and puff, and then they just go away. They don't talk to you anymore. They don't do this. They don't do that. And I'm like, how is that building sisterhood? How is that building community? It's not. So we should constantly be looking at ourselves and our relationships and reassess them. Now, I do have my limits now, and I do not want to hang around people who are rude or consistently all about themselves and not concerned with others' feelings. And I think we should be. And that's why whenever I'm getting ready to send a message or an email, I spend sometime rewriting it because I'm like, how is that going to be perceived? How is it going to be read? Because you don't know what frame of mind that person is and how they're going to receive it based on what's happening to them at that point. And that's another thing, because you may be a little bit raw in your feelings because of things happening to you. Let's say you're not feeling good physically. That could affect how you receive some information. Let's say you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, family stuff. You have wayward children. You're worried about finances, and there is a lot for us to worry about nowadays, right? So there is always that, because I'm talking about communication, the way you receive something. I can send it, but there's a whole lot of stuff that could affect how you receive it. And this is where the conflict comes up, right? Because you may mean it a certain way and I receive it, interpret it another way. So that's always where, the message gets lost in translation. It gets twisted, and it's received in a different way than what you meant. And that's why if you know that what you said did, then you retract and like, oh my God, sis, I didn't mean it that way. Maybe you were having some issues yourself. You sent that message, you said the thing. So what I'm saying is that we should all be mature enough to say, oh, I'm sorry that I said that. And you say, well, I was also dealing with some stuff, so maybe I was a little bit super sensitive. And then we save the relationship, right? I don't think it needs to be all or nothing, and then we just totally dismiss and we in our feeling getting all upset. Because I'll tell you what, I've had cases where somebody is really upset with me and I had no idea. And if I don't know that what I said upset you, I'm living my life, right? So where you're stewing, you're doing this and that, I'm like, I don't know. And if I do, trust me, I'll be the first person to say, oh, sis, I am so sorry, because I am not too proud to say I'm sorry. And then sometimes I don't feel like I should or I deserve to, but I will. Because if I want to save the relationship, I'm not too proud to say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. And I'm hoping you can forgive me, that you can accept the apology. But that's the other side of the coin. Some people do not accept apologies, right? You could say, I'm sorry to the yin, and they're like, nope, this is the initial, I got hurt, then I'm going to hang on to it like a badge of honor. And that's when I say, well, sis, it's on you. If I say I'm sorry and you cannot accept it, it's on you. And we can apply the same logic to forgiveness. We'll talk about that another time. Because if you say I'm sorry to someone and they cannot accept it, and as long as you know that you did what you could do, but that person still doesn't accept it, then you have to move on, right? Okay, so I think we're ready. We're gonna fluff that. Now you see that? You just put the couscous off the heat, and you leave it in there for like 10 minutes or so, and then voila, look. It's like this, and then you just take your fork and you just fluff it up. it. That's it. And I'm like, even if you're not a cook, I was telling the sister yesterday, she said, I don't cook. I mean, she carries, I don't cook. I'm like, well, even you could cook that. She looked at me like, I don't have a pot to cook it. Oh my God, that was so funny. She said, I have a little pot that I make tea out of. Maybe I can use that. Oh, that's so funny. And I tell them, and I said, you know, I cannot relate to any of this, because for me to know that I can't cook, I can't fathom that. Just because to me, cooking, like I said, is therapy. And I love to be creative in the kitchen. That's the only place I can be creative. See, you got this fluffy grain, so you can put anything you want in there. I can see broccoli, carrots, and edamame, and green peas, and what is it? Not bok choy, but roasted Brussels sprout. I love Brussels sprout. Not easy to find here, I can tell you that. But look at that. Now you see, you don't have to do anything to it. Look. My gosh. I make a quinoa salad, but instead of quinoa, I can use this. Doesn't it look like quinoa? Oh my gosh. Oh. It's done. Okay. All right. Let's plate. So I told y'all that today was going to be a very easy day. And again, showing you that you can. Ooh, my coffee is cold. I'm going to use a small, I don't know that it's going to hold, but I'm going to try. And that's another thing. I was counting how many serving spoons I have for the party, and I'm like, oh, I need to get some more. All right, so we're going to try to mold this. Don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. All right, mold it in the middle, and then put the black beans around it. And that's why I didn't want to cook a lot, because then it's like, you have all this stuff here, Maggie, and you don't want to eat it. No bueno. And that's me. The only way for me not to eat it if it's not around me. Beautiful. Right? Look at that. Yay. And you see, this is how the black bean turned out. Gorgeous. The challenge is you have to keep your eye on how thick it gets, because when you take it off the heat, it's going to thicken a little bit more, so you take it off early enough. Okay? Ooh. Nice. Ooh. Yep, I think that's it. And then I'm going to put the veggies on one side, because I don't want to cover the top with the veggies. That is not what I want to do. Perfecto. Look at that. All right. And let's see, what can we decorate with? Maybe a piece of this. parsley. Yeah. We've been decorating with limes, wedges, because I don't have any lemon. All right. So I think that's it. This is the first dish. And now for just black beans, like for you guys, so you can just do black beans. And that is good for you. So you eat your beans, you get strong bones, right? All right, so now we're going to, we're gonna chop some green onions. Like I say, you see the chefs doing this a lot. That's important, that you make sure your plate is clean when you serve it. If you go somewhere and they serve you, your plate is all smashed up, don't go back. That means they're not paying attention to you as a customer. All right, so that's it. Like I said, I don't care for raw onions, but I know some people do. I remember when I was growing up, people would say, oh yeah, raw onion. Now it's like raw garlic. They want you to eat the raw garlic once a day, or crush it, put it in some water, and then eat it. I probably could. If I hold my nose, I could drink the water. You know, I'm so silly. But this sour cream is not like the sour cream that you know. So, how do we get it? Okay. Then we're gonna put some of that decorative parsley. Yep. All right. So you can have your black beans like so. Black beans, sour cream, and red onion chopped. Or you can have your black beans with quinoa or couscous and a side of veggies. That's it. So today we did good. It's only 1 hour and 18 minutes. I wanted to keep it easy because, you know, I have a big week coming up. I'm probably going to go out again just to make sure I get some of the stuff that I need, because I don't want to be in the stores by Wednesday. It's going to be, well, there's no Thanksgiving here, so it may not be mayhem, but it might be busier than I want to be. I don't like to fight traffic and people, and I don't like that. All right, guys. Are there any questions or anything? Oh, look at my hair. Anything, you guys? So go make some black beans and, you know, you eat more veggies, you are healthier, okay? So that, you can just eat that with some potatoes or sweet potatoes or some white rice. Be very versatile. And I already told you what you could make with the couscous and the black beans. You don't need a whole lot. Some people crunch like, not chicharron, but the potato chips, not potato chips, tortilla. You can crush some tortilla, and then you put it in your black black beans. And I would not usually put sour cream in it, but I know people do that in the States, right? So, you know, easy does it. And if you make a pot of chickpeas and other peas, throw some veggies in there. You're good, right? And I think I showed you how to make some pita chips before. I can do it again, just so that you can just buy a bag of pita bread, cut it, season it when the season, or put it in the oven, and then use it to scoop your black beans, or if you make hummus or anything else. So today I'm going to be making marinara. I did get some albahaca, which is basil here. And again, buying in these little containers, it says fresh longer. Look at this beauty, look. Oh, so good, so good. But that's the best I could find. And somebody said, Maggie, you can grow some herbs. I have a black thumb. So I'm gonna put all that in my marinara. I bought a can of, that's one exception, of diced tomatoes, even though I have some tomatoes I can dice, but I think it gives you a bit more body. And here in Panama too, you can buy, we have lots of tomato products. So all your tomato paste, tomato sauce can come into these things, and you can buy some. But it says Maggie on it, so let me see. I gotta see if it's got some preservative, because I don't do preservatives. Ingredients. Okay, it doesn't say he's got MSG, so they're good. I'm good. All right. So as I continue, and the other day I cooked some okra that I baked instead of fried. Okay, so I had a little bit of that couscous left, so I cut the okra and I tossed it in spices, and also with a little bit of the breadcrumb and a little bit of cornmeal. Cornmeal, I use that in my mix. If I'm cooking fish, I don't cook chicken, but when I was making chicken, I would do that so it would coat it. And then I put it in the oven and I put it next to the couscous, and I was good. All right, be creative, try different things. And the one part things that Greta said, if you live alone, it might be something that you're interested in. If it works for you, why not? You're the one eating it. Just make sure everything you're putting in your system is clean, okay? Just do that. Do yourself a favor. Don't put yourself at more risk for disease than you need to, and all the stuff. And I'm thinking, like today I went to the store and I saw these boxes of the cake mixes, and I'm like, how many of those things did I buy throughout my life? Buy a cake mix and then put it in there, throw an egg or two, and then put it in the oven. I'm sure there were things in there that weren't good for me or my kids, but I didn't know. I wasn't thinking along those lines of what was in those boxes that could cause injury to my body. So let's not do that. Like sausages and ham, and how we stand in line to buy these cold cuts. No, that citric acid and all the stuff they put to preserve the meat is bad for you. That's why here I go in the store and they have a wall full of just hot dogs, and I'm like, and they eat it all the time here in the streets. Every party, they put it in the kebab little sticky thing, and then they cut it and they roll it and they put it and they grill it. Too much of that is not good for you. I'm not saying once in a while is okay, but it's just the way, if it becomes a lifestyle, it's a problem, okay? So your job is to keep your temple as healthy as you can. There's the stress that the world brings that sometimes you can't control, but you can control what you put in your body. You can control how much you move and you go out and walk and breathe the fresh air, get out in the sun, get some vitamin D. You do not understand the power of the sun with your body. You don't understand how important it is. And that's why people in Africa are out there, they're walking and they're thin, they're not fat. They're close to the sun. They did better with COVID because they were out in the sun, because their vitamin D levels were high. In COVID, they were like, very low. Get out in the sun. Get some sunlight. So important. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. I'm going to plan my day, my the rest of the week. I don't feel like I'm tired today because I didn't do a complicated dish. So I am grateful for that. All right, Miss Greta, Miss Deborah, and all of you who are watching, thank you so much. God loves you. I love you. Au revoir. Bye.